Hello everybody, Russian Batman back with another video, and as you can see, we're on Discord. So, oh, I'm typing in Discord. Hold on, let me delete that. So as we can see, we are looking at the new community redraw. This is the most recent video. If you don't know what this is, we have a Discord server, and this is the last community redraw, like contest I did, and yeah, and now I'm just showing the results of it and the redrawing of everything. And also, just to let y'all know, for the next community redraw I am going to do, I'm just going to say this off the bat. Instead of it being like a periodic thing where it's like, oh, this is this themes and like next one, next month or whatever, uh, I'm gonna make it like an open thing. So I'm gonna change the rules. It's basically you just submit whatever original Lego custom you have, and then I will redraw it. There haven't been enough submissions to warrant it being a contest. So I'm just gonna do you submit it, and eventually I'll redraw it. I'll just add it to a list that I'll have to redraw. If there becomes a point where there's too many, I'll then stop. I'll cap it off and then make it to a contest again. But for now, I've been just doing everyone's drawings, so that's how I'm gonna do it. Okay, for the next submission. So when this video comes out, you can submit your own original custom, and one day I will redraw it. I don't know when. Like I said, I do apologize. But for this first, let's just go over who submitted for this. And by the way, this theme was superhero theme, superhero or villain. Everyone ended up submitting villains, but I really like how all of them look. So first off, we have American Joker, who wait, why is his name not? This is American Joker, who posted the Thermal, a villain who is described as a cyborg with the power of fire and ice, created by a called a black with a criminal gang called the Black Scorpion. I like this. Everyone actually submitted like a little bit of lore to theirs, which I really like. It wasn't necessary, but I appreciate it. And it just adds more context. Now, for all these drawings, I didn't read the lore before drawing them. Some of them I did, but not all of them. But I really like this one, and I had a lot of fun redrawing. Okay, so next up, we have next submission is from Mission X, who submitted Parrot. Is half human, half parademon, tasked to infiltrate the Bat family by Lord Darkseid under the guise of Robin's long lost 14th cousin. If I were to just recommend anything, you should have said like twice removed or 3 times removed. Would have made it a little bit more believable. But that's neither here nor there. Thank you, Mission X. And then he says he has the power. He has the power of flight because he's a bird, and with a parrot staff, not included in the picture, he can turn literally into a parrot. And I'll go more into when I go into his design, but I did not read this lore beforehand. If I did, I might have included more things from it, like maybe the parrot staff would have been cool, but I didn't read it before. I just kind of did based off the design, which is just kind of a recolored Robin for his little Mission X original stuff he has going on, which I like. I like his cool. All right. And then last, Skull, my good buddy Skull Smoothie, he posted the Peter Penny Tickler villain, all villains, a crime boss who torture something enemies with the power of penny tickling, which uses the iron in enemies' blood in order to create any coin. I really like that. The iron in their blood. I like that idea of controlling blood. But those are all the submissions. So shout out to everyone. Shout out to Skull Smoothie, Mission X, and American Joker. They're all great. And if you want to be featured in the future, submit your own. But let's just go over into the redraws. And first with American Joker's cyborg character. So let's get right into it. All right. So here is the first one I did, which is American Joker's cyborg. I believe his name was I said it in the beginning of the video. It was like temperature or something. I don't know. I really liked it though. The whole idea of having a robot with fire and ice. It kind of reminded me of that one character from My Hero Academia. I don't watch the show, but I know there's like one guy. He's like fire on one side and ice on the other side of his body. It's kind of like that, but in robot form. So, yeah. And then this one is the one I made first. I made this one a while ago. I took a big break between making this one and the rest. Like the other 2 drawings I did like within the past few days. This one I did at least maybe like a month ago or something. And this one was a lot of fun. Now I do struggle a little bit with drawing like mechanical parts. I feel like natural anatomy is a lot easier because like you don't need to like exactly know how the joints work and whatnot. The fleshy bits kind of cover it all up. Where when you're drawing a robot, you kind of like need to make it look believable. Also, you need a lot of like straight lines and edges, which are kind of hard to do freehand without using a ruler. Which you can use a ruler. You can absolutely use a digital ruler. I just don't like to. I'm not like Frail, if you watch Frail. I didn't mean to diss Frail. I'm sorry. My favorite part about this, however, is, definitely the fire and the ice hands. The fire hand was epic. I was thinking about him like shooting fire everywhere, but I couldn't find a composition that looked good, and I thought it might distract from just, the other part. And then the ice one, I think I knew off the get-go that I wanted the axe kind of coming out of his hand. In the original submission, he's just kind of holding the axe. But I thought it'd be cool if like the axe was part of his hand, like his arm can like kind of freeze into different weapons and whatnot. Because like I think in the submission, the hand was also the same color as the axe, implying it was all kind of like one thing, kind of like frozen over. Or maybe he has a robotic hand, but ice kind of can also freeze over it to make weapons and stuff. And then for the coloring, I just did a kind of a base of gray kind of all throughout, just so it would just make it easier, right? Because if everything's gray, then when I put the color on top of it, anything I don't get will just be gray, and I could just say, oh, that's robot part, so it works, right? I end up doing, I think, 2 different shades of gray at some point, but here I go in with the red and whatnot. It was kind of tricky to do the armor, the broken armor look, I feel like, with the random colors. I really do like all the random colors that are in it, because I think it is based off the, I want to say, Age of Ultron torso, because American Joker, he'll use, I think he uses mecha bricks, and he'll just use, like, the torsos that are already on there, and just kind of, but, like, change the colors up to kind of make it his own thing, which I really like. I think that's really creative. And he used the Age of Ultron one, and it had like all these broken, it was based off the broken armor. So I try to replicate that, but I still wanted to look somewhat original. I didn't want to straight up copy that, and that's kind of what I do usually when I redraw his stuff. Is I'll try to copy the essence of it, but I won't try to copy it exactly. And like I said, this one is also one I didn't read. Actually, I think I did read the lore beforehand, but there wasn't really much. Just fire and ice, and he's a cyborg. Although he doesn't really have any human parts to him, so I don't know what makes him a cyborg and not just a straight-up robot. But maybe he has a brain in there. He probably does. But yeah, I really like this submission. Honestly, all the drawings from all the submissions I really liked. But yeah, this one I think was the first one, and so I'm kind of partial. I'm partial to all of them. I made them. What the hell? I made them, and they're great. If you want yours redrawn, like I said, submit it. Discord's in link in the description. I mean, there's no reason not to if you got some customs and you want to show them off. And they're original. They got to be original. That's the only thing. But yeah, so let's show off the final. Also, with the final drawings, I end up making the background purple in all of them. That was a complete accident. That was my bad. My whoopsie. So here's the final drawing in 3, 2, 1. Boom. Oh, I also really like the glowing eyes. Boom. There's the final drawing. That was an accident making it purple. So this next one, Parrot. I end up, so you see, I end up doing a lot of the sketching off camera. That's just because I didn't really know what pose I wanted to be in, so I wanted to do it off camera so I wouldn't, like, waste a bunch of recording time. But so the parrot I did, and like I said, I did this before I read the lore, so this design really doesn't fit the lore, like the infiltrating the bat family and whatnot. Like, yeah, this guy is not fooling you for Robin's cousin. However, I still really like how it turned out. 2 major things inspired this design. One was to find the pose. I looked up Spider-Man poses, and this is usually what I want to do when I want to look up dynamic poses. And the reason I did that is because when I think of a parrot, I think of them like sitting on the wire, like a bird sitting on the wire, and usually Spider-Man's like standing on his like thread, on like kind of dynamically with his 2 feet. So that's what I did there. This was kind of based off a Yamaguchi figure pose, and then I changed one of the arms up. And then the other inspiration, a big one, is Sabretooth from X-Men. And that was sort of an accident, sort of not an accident, because when I started making the design, I knew I wanted to give him like talons and claws because he's a villain. Because I was thinking of like bird claws, right? And then I also knew I wanted to give him the kind of the feathers on the back of his, kind of goes around his neck, right? and I wanted to give him that because I really just I thought that would be cool, and two, I didn't want to give him a cape because I honestly, with drawing characters, I don't really like making capes because I think capes, they kind of disrupt like the rest of the silhouette, if that makes sense, you know. So it'll just like, yeah, it'll kind of just make the silhouette look like a bit of a blob, and I don't like it. Every time I've made capes, it just, I don't know. It's hard to create a contrast too, especially if the cape's like a similar color, which the cape is a different color in this case. But I wanted to do feathers because I mean, like, it would go more into the parrot thing, right, with the bird. So that's what I did. And then I realized later, like, hold up, who's a character that has feathers and claws? Sabretooth. So I looked up some images of Sabretooth for inspiration for like the hand pose and whatnot. And kind of just general demeanor. So Sabretooth was definitely a big, and you can see here I'm experimenting with the blood. I wanted to make him an aggressive villain. It kind of doesn't make much sense with like his color scheme and design, because like when I first made the colors, I'm like, okay, he has very McDonald's colors, right, with the red and the yellow, and then the blue as well. So the colors, they kind of do clash a lot. And I thought about maybe changing the colors, but for the colors, I wanted to be faithful to the original design because I already changed a lot about the design. I figured, like, okay, I'll keep the colors the same about Mission X's design, because, like, I think if I changed the design and the colors, it just wouldn't be a redraw of Parrot anymore. It would just be just my own character I just call Parrot, I guess. But I still think this is faithful enough, and he still has like the mask. I wanted to create the, like I said, I wanted the mask to go all the way around because I did not want him just look like another Robin. I know that's kind of part of his design. He's supposed to look like Robin, but I just didn't want mine looking like Robin. And yeah, I still give him the curly hair, right, which I like. And with the mask, I make it like to go all the way around his head, and I also give it like that nose to kind of imitate a beak. I could have made it look more like a beak. I don't know. I'm kind of bad at drawing beaks, if I'm being honest. And it would have been weird to make it a parrot beak, which I guess, I mean, it makes sense, but still, I don't know. I'm still happy. And then also give like a little, if you notice with the coloring of the feathers, I give it a little fade. I'm not super happy with how the lighting, how the texturing worked on the feathers. I tried to give it a feathery texture, but like, I don't know, like, you look closely, you kind of see it, but it didn't really come across as well as I wanted it to. I'm still really happy with the pose and the design, but here's the final drawing in 3, 2, 1, bingo! There it is. I'm still happy with it. Last but certainly not least, we have the penny tickler. This is probably my favorite one. I did this one today. And I had a lot of fun with it. Now, the pose and the kind of the general proportions, I wanted to grab some inspiration from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure because, well, Magic Koopa is a huge fan, and I bet, you know, he was probably inspired by it with the kind of like the colors and the weird outfit, right, he had. It's not like super dramatic or pose. I just kind of wanted to add a little bit of that flair in there, especially with the proportions. I made him a lot bigger and kind of buff. You see his like neck muscles are really defined. Also, I ended up kind of making, like, especially with the eyes, he ends up looking really creepy looking, which I really like. I don't know. And then, like I said, I made sure to read the lore about the pennies. I wouldn't have added the pennies and the coins if I didn't read the lore, because, like, he doesn't actually add any coins in the actual design. You'd have to read the lore to know that. And then the boots are kind of weird. I made this weird sort of, like, bootstrap design. I don't know if it actually exists, but I thought it'd be cool. Also, he doesn't have an arm. I thought about having like the sleeve folded over kind of look, but I tried that and it didn't really look good. So I just kind of, my headcanon, it's just a tailored suit, so he doesn't have to. So it just has like the arm already, like gone. You just cover it up. And then the colors, these like again a lot of yellows, and that's why I made the background purple for all these, especially this one. He has used a lot of yellows. But I think it's a lot nicer color-wise because it doesn't clash as much with because the other one had like blues and whatnot. This one still has red, but not as much red, where it makes it look super McDonald's-y. Also, ironically, he also has the frill around his neck, the not feathers, but the puffiness around his neck, which I've already done for the last design. But yeah, and especially when I get into shading, I really like how I made his eyes look, because in his design he made the eyes really detailed and creepy, and I try to replicate that, and I think it ended up looking pretty good. Like I said, the pose is pretty basic. He's just kind of there with his hand up, kind of with pennies coming out of his hand. I I was thinking about making his like weird bandages around his head, trying to make that look like it's like some sort of like they're bloody bandages because he controls the blood in people's iron. But I don't know. I just kind of kept it all red and consistent. It could still be bloody, but it's like not super obvious that it is. But either way, I'm just really happy with the design. I'm really happy with all the designs. And yeah, if y'all like the video, like, subscribe. Go check out our Discord server. Go check out all these people. They're on Discord. And here's the final drawing. Hope y'all enjoyed. I know not a lot of people watch these, but, you know, I hope y'all had fun anyways. And yeah, bye. Go watch Rango.